Man Up, Power Up. Very nice name. I would be happy to answer your questions, even if I end up looking rather silly. That's fine. Heaven forbid somebody take themselves too seriously. What a miserable kind of life that would be. Anyway, this is actually quite common, the list of questions that you have. You have one involving morality, which really you can approach from a purely philosophical standpoint, but the rest of your questions are purely scientific. And to address them to an atheist audience as opposed to a scientific audience, I'm not sure why you would do that. There are plenty of scientists who happen to be religious. I'll put a link in the box over there. Richard Dawkins interviewing an archbishop who happens to be an astronomer. He explains why looking for the God of the gaps or a God as an explanation to the physical world is a bad idea. I personally don't agree with his conclusions, but I'm absolutely certain that he's sincere and he's managed to mush the two together. So if you want, the link is there. Go ahead and take a look at it. Looking for explanations of the physical world by rejecting science and substituting religion is a bad idea, and it basically demonstrates how wrong, how broken our education system is in this country. Most of the stuff here, I'm a big geek, so I like looking at watching science shows and reading up on science books. I find it interesting. Most of the stuff that you're asking questions about, I didn't find from a public, or even when I went to college, I didn't find in education. I had to actually be interested and look at it on my own. Your misunderstandings on a couple of these points are purely normal, in this country anyway, which is kind of sad. Alright, first point, termites. You described them having what the term is called gut flora, and that animals have a symbiotic relationship with single-celled organisms to help them break down food. The single-celled organisms dwell within the digestive system of the animal. You brought up termites as a specific example, but you didn't have to. You could have just brought up humans. We've got them too. Alright, you mentioned termites specifically, so let's talk termites. Termites rely primarily upon metamonads. I think I'm pronouncing that right. There is one particular species, Trichonympha. Hopefully I pronounced that right too. That helps them digest cellulose. However, the termites can and do produce their own enzymes to break down cellulose. They're not as efficient at it as the single-celled organisms that they've formed a symbiotic relationship with it, but if the single-celled organisms were removed, the termites would still be able to digest wood. So the question specifically was, which came first? Well, logically, you can see where this is going. The termite, or the termite's ancestor, whenever the symbiosis occurred, was a self-sufficient creature, and then for the benefit of both a single-celled organism and for the host, in this case the termite, a partnership was founded later for the benefit of both the termite and for the single-celled organisms. So which came first? The termite came first. Our own gut flora is, we have a bunch of different things living inside us. I'm not even going to get into it. It is huge. It's almost like a whole branch of scientific study all in itself. Alright, next question. This one comes up a lot. Shouldn't we see monkey-human hybrids today? I don't think you mean hybrid. You're talking about something else. Hybrid is a term that describes the combination of two distinct species. You probably know about mules, which are horses and donkeys put together. Those are hybrids. There's a bunch of others. There's ligers, there's savanna cats. I bet you've never heard of Z-donks, and walpins. Walfins, that's right, walfins, which are actually fertile. Some of the hybrids are not fertile because they've got incompatible numbers of chromosomes that ends up the male being infertile. But wolfins are an example of a hybrid species that is fertile, both male and female. But you don't mean hybrids in that sense. You're talking about transitional, and I use the term loosely, transitional steps between the common ancestor that we have with chimpanzees, which would be a primate, and ourselves. You're looking for some of our intermediate ancestors. Well, the short answer is they're all extinct. But that doesn't mean we don't know about them. You're probably very familiar with Neanderthals, which would be cousins of ours, not actually direct descendants. They actually look pretty close to human. There's some cranial features which are different. Their bone structure is different too. But yeah, pretty close. Not so monkey. So let's go farther back. Homo heidelbergensis, which is an ancestor of ours. Looking a bit scruffy with dreadlocks, a bit older. Not so much monkey. How about Homo erectus, even farther back? Looking a little bit like a monkey human. What about, can I pronounce this? Paranthropus boisei. Foreign languages. This actually isn't. This is probably what you're looking for, monkey-human hybrid. That's not quite correct. This would be a cousin, not a direct ancestor. Yeah, quite interesting. Primate that's half man, half monkey. I think this is probably what you're looking for. Or you can go to another ancestor of ours, a Homo habilis. He's looking kind of monkey-manish a bit. Even farther back, Australopithecus africanus. Or even farther back, not too much after our a break with our cousins, the chimpanzees, Australopithecus afarensis. Looking pretty much like a monkey man. I mean, this is when walking upright bipedally was brand new. Chimpanzees didn't go that way, and then we did, hence the big rift. The next question. Has evolution stopped for certain species? No. Evolution continues to work all the time. If you want a down-to-earth example, you don't look exactly like your mom or your dad. And your mom and your dad don't look exactly like your grandparents, and great-grandparents, and great-great-grandparents. We keep changing over time. Some changes are good, some changes are bad, but we keep changing. So evolution does not stop. Ever. Question number 4. This one's a bit ethereal or philosophical. Isn't natural selection as unreal or as fake, as man-made, as concepts of deities or other mythological creatures? No, not really. Natural selection is essentially an algorithm. It is a step procedure. It is a set of rules that guide how objects change over time. You could say it's as ethereal and made up as mathematics. It doesn't mean that in some sense it doesn't exist. It's not a fairy. It's not a made-up creature. It's not something that's not based in reality. It's a logical construct that describes a process. So it's not an object in itself. It's a process. It's an abstract concept. It's not real.